The door creaked open like a gunshot in the dead of night, yanking me from the depths of a dreamless sleep. James stood there, silhouetted against the hallway light, his breath ragged, eyes wild with something I couldn't place, fear, fury, or maybe just the kind of desperation that makes a man do the unthinkable. Before I could even sit up, he crossed the room in 3 strides, dropped to his knees beside my bed, and pressed his lips to mine in a kiss that tasted like whiskey and goodbye. I was Alex Harper, 24 years old, crashing on the lumpy futon in my best friend James Riley's cramped Brooklyn walk-up. We'd been inseparable since freshman year at NYU. Him the brooding art major with ink-stained fingers and a laugh that could light up a blackout. Me the poli-sci kid chasing ghosts of a stable future in a city that chewed up dreams like stale gum. New York in summer was a beast. Humid nights that stuck to your skin. The constant hum of sirens like the city's restless heartbeat. We'd split a 6-pack of cheap IPAs most evenings, trading stories about exes who ghosted and professors who graded like they had grudges. James was straight as an arrow, or so I thought. Girls came and went, leaving lipstick smudges on his collars and half-hearted apologies in their wake. Me, I'd buried my own secrets deeper than subway tracks, coming out to no one but the mirror in my childhood bathroom back in Ohio, where cornfields whispered judgment. That night, the kiss lingered like a fever. His hands cupped my face, rough from sketching late into the dawn, and for a split second, the world narrowed to the salt of his tears mixing with mine. Then he pulled back, gasping, his green eyes searching mine like he'd lost a map. "Alex," he whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. "I can't pretend anymore. It's you. It's always been you." The air punched out of me. My heart hammered against my ribs. A wild thing finally set loose. We'd shared everything, late-night confessions over greasy diner fries, the time we got stranded in a blizzard upstate and huddled under one ratty blanket, bodies pressed close but never crossing that line. I'd loved him in silence, a quiet ache that bloomed in stolen glances, in the way his shoulder brushed mine on the subway. But hearing it was like the universe cracking open, spilling light and terror in equal measure. We didn't sleep after that. Curled on the futon, his head on my chest, we talked until the sky bruised purple with dawn. He spilled it all. The confusion that started in high school, the hookups with girls that felt like dress rehearsals for something real, the nights he'd lie awake listening to my breathing through the thin walls, wondering if I felt it too. "I walked in to tell you I'm leaving," he admitted, fingers tracing lazy circles on my arm. "Got a gallery show in LA, big break. The kind you don't turn down. But I couldn't go without this, LA." The word hung like smoke. 3,000 miles of desert and dreams, pulling him away just as we'd found our way to each other. I swallowed the lump in my throat, forcing a grin. "Then don't go quiet. Go loud, James. Paint the hell out of that city for me." He kissed me again, slower this time, like he was memorizing the shape of my mouth. By morning, we'd made promises, texts every hour, video calls that stretched into the wee hours, visits when the dollars allowed. Felt fragile, like a sketch on tissue paper, but damn if it didn't feel right. The next few weeks were a blur of stolen moments. James's last show in the city was at a dingy Soho loft, walls dripping with his canvases, abstract swirls of blues and golds that screamed urban longing. I helped him hang them, our hands brushing over frames, electricity sparking every time. That night, amid the clink of wine glasses and pretentious chatter, He pulled me into a shadowed corner, his lips hot against my ear. "You're my muse, Alex. Every stroke's got your name on it." We made love for the first time in his studio, surrounded by drop cloths and the sharp tang of turpentine. It was messy, urgent, clothes tangled on the floor, his body arching under mine like a wave breaking. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of paint and sweat, he whispered, "This is us now." No more hiding, but hiding, it was woven into my bones. My folks back in Cleveland thought I was still chasing that law degree, dating the girl from accounting they'd met at Christmas. James didn't know about the letters I'd burned, the prayers I'd whispered to a God who never answered. One step at a time, I told him, when he asked why I flinched at public hand-holding. This city's got eyes everywhere. He left for LA on a red-eye. The airport goodbye, a gut-wrench of hugs and half-said I love yous. I watched his plane carve into the smoggy sky from a rooftop bar, nursing a whiskey sour that burned less than the hole in my chest. The days stretched empty after that. My internship at a nonprofit downtown, pushing papers for underfunded queer youth programs, felt like a cruel joke. Irony, right? Fighting for kids to live their truths while mine festered in the dark. We kept our rhythm, though. Texts lit up my phone like fireflies. Him sending snaps of palm trees and ocean sunsets, me firing back pics of rainy Brooklyn stoops and the rat that stole my lunch. Video calls became our lifeline, him in a sun-bleached tank, me bundled in hoodies against the chill. "Miss your voice," he'd say, and I'd laugh it off. But God, I missed his touch like a limb gone numb. Then David entered the frame, uninvited and unavoidable. He was the new guy at my office, transferred from the Seattle branch, 26, with sharp cheekbones, a fade haircut that screamed East Coast polish, and eyes like polished obsidian dark, pulling you in before you realized you'd fallen. He was out and proud, the kind of effortless that made my stomach twist with envy and something sharper. First day, he slid into the break room with a coffee in one hand and a smile that could disarm a bomb. "Alex Harper? Heard you're the wizard behind that housing grant proposal." "David Ruiz. Call me Dave if you're feeling friendly." "Friendly." Yeah. We bonded over bad office coffee and worse bosses, trading stories about growing up brown in white suburbs, him in Jersey, me in the Midwest Rust Belt. David was everything I wished I could be, unapologetic, with a laugh that echoed down halls and a Tinder profile he didn't hide. "Life's too short for closets," he'd say, clapping my shoulder a beat too long. I told myself it was nothing, just camaraderie. But late nights scrolling his Insta, shirtless hikes in the Cascades, Pride parade floats, stirred a restlessness I couldn't name. James noticed. "Who's the guy in the suit pic?" he asked during one call, voice light but edged. I shrugged it off, team outing, nothing more. But the seed was planted. Distance has a way of breeding doubt, like mold in damp walls. Fall crept in, leaves turning the parks to fire. James's show was a hit. Articles popped up in art blogs, calling him the next Basquiat of the West Coast. Pride swelled in me, mixed with a gnawing ache. He promised a visit for Thanksgiving. His folks in Queens could wait. "Gonna show you my city," he teased. I counted days like a kid marking Advent. David complicated it. We started grabbing after-work drinks at this dive called the Rusty Nail, all exposed brick and jukebox blues. One night, 3 beers deep, he leaned in close over the scarred wooden table. "You ever think about what it'd be like? No more pretending," His hand brushed mine, accidental on purpose, and heat flooded my veins. I pulled back, mumbling about James, but the words tasted like ash. David just nodded. I soft. Hey, no pressure. But you're worth the real thing, Alex. Guilt clawed at me that night, alone in the apartment James had sublet to me. I texted him, "Miss you bad. Hurry home." His reply, 2 weeks. "Can't wait to hold you." Simple words, but they anchored me. Thanksgiving came wrapped in chaos, JFK delays, a nor'easter dumping snow on the tarmac. When James finally burst through the door, duffel slung over his shoulder, I tackled him like a linebacker. We didn't make it past the foyer. Coats shed in a frenzy, his mouth claiming mine with a hunger that erased the miles. "God, Alex," he groaned against my neck, hands roaming like they were rediscovering home. We christened every surface that weekend. The kitchen counter sticky with turkey drippings, the fire escape under a blanket of flakes, breaths fogging the iron rails. But cracks showed. Over pie at his mom's, he was quieter, thumbing his phone under the table. Texts from gallery contacts, he said. I believed him. That night, tangled in my bed, he traced the scars on my knuckles, from a bar fight back in college, defending a drag queen from slurs. "You're my hero," he murmured. I wanted to believe it. David texted the next morning. "Holiday crew drinks? Bring your mystery man." I showed James, expecting a laugh. Instead, his jaw tightened. "Mystery man? Who's that?" I explained. "Office buddy. Nothing." But the seed sprouted thorns. James stayed through the holiday blur, but the city felt smaller, like it was closing in on us. We wandered Central Park bundled in scarves, his arm slung casual around my shoulders when no one watched too close. "This is it, right?" he said one afternoon, feeding me a stolen pretzel bite by the Bethesda fountain. "You and me against the concrete jungle." I nodded, throat tight, but David's words echoed, "The real thing." Was this real, or just a beautiful lie we'd sketched together? He flew back Sunday, promising Christmas in Brooklyn. The apartment echoed empty after, his scent lingering on pillows like a ghost. Work ramped up, holiday fundraisers, me pitching grants to suits who nodded but never funded. David became my sounding board, his office door always cracked open. "You're carrying the world, Harper," he'd say, sliding me a latte. One evening, snow swirling outside the windows, we stayed late collating reports. The fluorescent hum died, leaving us in twilight glow. He stepped closer, breath warm on my cheek. "Tell me to stop, and I will," but I didn't. His kiss was gentle, exploratory, like testing waters you know are deep. It lasted seconds, maybe, but it splintered something inside me. I confessed to James that night on a glitchy call, pixels fracturing his face. It was a mistake. One kiss. I swear. Silence stretched. Then his voice. Raw. "Do you feel something for him?" I faltered. "No. You. Always. Lies have weights. And this one sank heavy." He forgave quick, too quick, blaming the distance, the city's temptations. "Just come see me soon," he pleaded. "I need to feel you, Alex." Prove it. January hit like a freight train. Blizzards burying the streets. My grant proposal greenlit but underfunded. James's texts thinning to emojis and busy excuses. Gallery drama, he said. Press junkets. Collectors breathing down his neck. I dove into work, letting David's easy banter fill the voids. We grabbed Thai takeout in his midtown sublet one night, snowed in. You're glowing, he said, chopsticks pausing midair. Happier. It wasn't James's light. It was the absence of shadows, the freedom of being seen without apology. Then the bomb dropped. A mutual friend from NYU, Mia, texted a link. Some art scene gossip rag with a blurry photo James, arm around a guy at a WeHo bar, both laughing, bodies close. Caption: Riley's new muse? My stomach plummeted. I called. He picked up laughing. Background chatter loud. Babe. It's nothing, client schmoozing. But the doubt festered. David found me chain-smoking on the stoop next morning. Eyes red. Talk to me, he urged. Coat draped over my shoulders. I spilled it all, the kiss, the photo, the fear that distance was devouring us. He pulled me into a hug, solid and warm. You deserve steady, Alex. Not this yo-yo. James announced the visit mid-February. Valentine's surprise. He'd fly in for a long weekend. I cleaned the apartment till it gleamed, stocked the fridge with his favorites, craft beers, that god-awful spicy ramen. The airport reunion was movie perfect. Him striding through baggage claim, me waving like an idiot, our kiss drawing wolf whistles from cabbies. Back home, we barely unpacked, his hands urgent, mapping my body like lost territory. Missed this, he gasped, as I traced the constellation of freckles across his chest. Missed you. We played tourists. Dim sum in Chinatown. A matinee at the Paris Theater. His head on my shoulder in the dark. But undercurrents pulled. At dinner that night, candlelit Italian in the village, he fidgeted, pushing pasta around his plate. Alex, I need to tell you something. My fork froze. He leaned in, eyes earnest. The LA thing. There's more than shows. There's a guy, David? No. Wait. That's your David. I stiffened. What? He backpedaled, laughing it off. Nah. Different David. Gallery assistant. We hooked up once. Early days. Stupid. Lonely shit. It's over. The name David twisted like a knife. Coincidence? Sure. But my mind reeled. I forced a smile, but the seed he'd planted months ago now choked the garden. That night, love turned feverish, possessive. His bites on my shoulder lingered like brands, my nails raking his back in silent claim. Afterward, spooned close, he whispered, "You're it for me." Promise. I wanted to believe, but sleep evaded, David's kiss ghosting my lips like accusation. Morning brought coffee and awkward silences. He left early for a quick meeting with old contacts, art crowd brunch in Tribeca. Paced, phone burning my palm. Against better judgment, I scrolled his Insta private now, but stories leaked him at a cafe. Arms slung over a broad-shouldered blonde, both grinning at the camera. Caption: Catching up with Dave. Brooklyn. You slay. Dave. David Ruiz? No, my David was at work, buried in spreadsheets. But the blonde. Lean build, familiar jawline from afar. Paranoia clawed. I texted David, "You free for lunch? Need advice." He met me at the park, bundled against the wind. Over hot dogs from a cart, I showed him the story. His brow furrowed. That's not me, man. But, James, is this the guy? I nodded, throat tight. He squeezed my knee under the bench. Talk to him. Straight up, his touch lingered, comfort bleeding into temptation. James returned flushed, smelling of espresso and cologne that wasn't his. Old friend, he said, kissing my cheek. David, painter from school. Harmless, another David. The city crawled with them, apparently. I swallowed it, but resentment simmered. The weekend unraveled slow. We argued over nothing, me snapping at his phone addiction, him accusing me of coldness. What's with you? He demanded one night, midway through a bottle of Cabernet. Ever since the photo, you're distant, I fired back. Maybe because you're always schmoozing in LA. James. Who's the real mystery here? He slammed his glass down, wine sloshing red like blood. You kissed your coworker, but I'm the villain. It escalated, voices rising till neighbors banged walls. He stormed out, crashing at Mia's. I called David at 2 a.m., voice wrecked. Can I come over? His place was a sanctuary. Bookshelves groaning with queer lit, a cat named Oscar purring on the couch. We didn't kiss. Not then, just talked till dawn. His arm around me as I cried. You're not alone, he murmured. Let me in. James slunk back Monday, apology bouquet in hand, roses that wilted fast. I overreacted. Love you too much to lose this. We patched it with sex that felt like apology. Bodies sinking in frantic rhythm. But the fracture lingered, a hairline crack waiting to spiderweb. Spring teased with crocuses in the park, but my world grayed. James's calls grew sporadic, time zones, he claimed. David's presence steadied me. Movie nights, runs along the Hudson, his laugh chasing shadows. One evening, after a brutal board meeting, he cooked paella from his abuela's recipe, steam curling like secrets. Over wine, he cupped my face. I see you, Alex. All of you. The kiss that followed was inevitable, deep and damning. I pulled away gasping. I can't. Not yet. He nodded, hurt flickering. Whenever you're ready. Or never. Just know I'm here, guilt warred with want. I ghosted James for a day, then confessed partial truths, seeing a friend. Need space. His reply, is it him? The office guy? Silence after that, a void that echoed. Then the real storm hit. Package arrived, James's forwarding address scrawled hasty. Inside, a sketchbook, pages filled with charcoal lovers entwined, faces blurred but bodies achingly familiar. Tucked in the back, a note. For you, my heart. Come to LA. Let's build this for real. J. Tears blurred the ink. It was beautiful, a lifeline. I booked the ticket that night, impulse, desperation. David drove me to JFK, hug lingering at curbside. Call me when you land. Whatever happens, you've got backup. The flight was turbulence all the way, mirroring my gut. LAX sprawled golden under smog, palms swaying like false promises. James waited at arrivals, sign scrawled Harper my forever. We collided in a hug that bruised, his laugh muffled in my hair. You came. His world was sun-bleached lofts and infinity pools, but we holed up in his Echo Park rental. a bungalow with lemon trees scratching the windows. Days blurred. Beach bonfires in Malibu. His hand in mine as waves crashed. Gallery crawls where he introduced me as partner, the word electric on his tongue. Nights were fever dreams, his body arching under mine, moans mingling with ocean roar. "This is us," he'd gasp. "No more doubts, but doubts are stubborn weeds." One afternoon, while he dashed to a meeting, I scrolled his laptop, idle curiosity, or sabotage. Emails flooded, threads with Dave, intimate, laced with heart emojis and meetup plans. Photos attached, James and a guy blonde, lean, the one from the Insta story, lips locked in a club, hands wandering. The name, David Ellis, painter from his past. Betrayal hit like surfacing for air after drowning. I confronted him that night, printouts clutched like evidence. "Who's this David, the harmless one?" His face drained white. "Alex, wait, it's over. James, you lied." Again, he reached for me, but I recoiled. "I came here for us, and you're still playing games." He crumpled, tears streaming. "It was a lapse. Loneliness. I ended it when you came out to me, when we started, lies layered on lies. I packed blind, Uber to LAX, his pleas echoing in my ears. Don't go. Please. Back in Brooklyn, the apartment reeked of neglect. Mail piled, plants wilted. David showed up with takeout. No questions. We ate in silence. Then he pulled me close. Stay tonight. I did. His touch was salvation, gentle, reverent, erasing James's ghosts. We made love slow, exploring like first times, his whispers grounding me. You're safe here. Morning light slanted through David's blinds, painting stripes on his chest. I woke to his steady breathing, panic clawing up my throat. What had I done? James's sketchbook lay abandoned in my bag, a talisman of what I'd torched. I slipped out quiet, leaving a note. Thanks for last night. Need to think. A coffee at a corner bodega tasted bitter, the city awakening indifferent to my wreckage. James blew up my phone. Voicemails thick with sobs, texts begging forgiveness. I fucked up. Come back. We can fix this. I blocked him, the click final as a guillotine. Work blurred, deadlines met on autopilot. David's glances across the conference room loaded with unspoken questions. You okay? He'd mouth during meetings. I'd nod, but inside, I was adrift, compass spinning. Spring unfurled mocking, cherry blossoms carpeting sidewalks, couples picnicking in the park like billboards for normalcy. I threw myself into the nonprofit grind, organizing a youth pride event, coaching kids on coming out scripts I'd never voiced myself. One afternoon, a teen named Riley, 16, freckled, voice trembling, sat across my desk. What if they hate me? She whispered. I leaned in, heart aching. They might. But the ones who love you, they'll fight for it. And if not, you find your tribe. Her hug lingered, fierce. In her eyes, I saw my younger self, and for the first time, the mirror didn't lie back. David and I danced a careful tango. Lunches stretched to dinners, his hand brushing mine over menus. No rush, he'd say, but his eyes hungered. One night, after a fundraiser gala, me in a rented suit that pinched, him devastating in slim chinos, we ended up at his place again. Wine flowed, Barriers crumbled. "Tell me about him," he urged, fingers lacing mine. I did, the hooks, the highs, the hollow ache of betrayal. He listened, then kissed my temple. "He doesn't deserve you." That night, we crossed lines again, bodies sinking in a rhythm that felt like homecoming. No ghosts, just us, sweat-slick and sighing. But James haunted periphery. Mia called, voice strained. "He's a mess, Alex. Drinking heavy, missing deadlines. Says it's all his fault." Guilt twisted, but anger held firmer. "He made choices," I snapped. "Let him own them." Still, I unblocked his number, a lifeline I swore not to throw. Summer scorched in, asphalt shimmering. The Pride event was a triumph. Rainbow flags snapping in breeze, kids dancing unashamed under June sun. David volunteered, manning a booth with STD pamphlets and snarky stickers. We stole kisses behind the stage, his laugh bubbling against my lips. "This," he murmured, gesturing to the throng, "this is living." For the first time, I believed it. James's next contact was a package. The sketchbook returned, pages annotated, margins filled with pleas. "This curve is your smile. This shadow, my regret." A letter enclosed, handwriting shaky. I was scared, Alex, of losing the dream, of not being enough. Dave was easy, familiar escape. But you're the masterpiece. If there's any piece left of us, I'll wait forever. I burned it in the sink, flames licking paper like absolution. David found the ashes next morning, brow arched. "Exorcism," I nodded, pulling him close. "Clean slate." We made it official over rooftop barbecue, his friends, a mix of artists and activists, toasting with PBR cans. "To Alex," David grinned, arm around my waist. "The guy who finally said yes." Laughter swelled, but under it, a whisper of unease. Was this rebound, or real? David's steadiness anchored, but James's chaos lingered like nicotine cravings. Fall whispered in with equinox winds, leaves crunching underfoot. My promotion came, lead on youth programs, salary bump that meant breathing room. David celebrated with a weekend upstate, cabin rental, crackling fire, no signal. We hiked trails ankle-deep in ferns, his hand steady in mine. "Future plans?" he asked one dusk, as we watched sun dip behind hills. "You, me, maybe a dog." "The works." I kissed him, tasting pine and promise. Sounds perfect, but perfection's a lie cities tell. November brought the call. James, slurring from a hospital in LA, overdose, pills and booze after a gallery rejection. "Alex, please. Need you." Heart seized. I booked the red eye, David nodding understanding at the door. "Go." "I'll be here." LAX felt like déjà vu, but colder. James's room smelled sterile, monitors beeping like accusations. He looked wrecked, hollow cheeks, eyes bruised purple. "You came," he croaked, hand trembling for mine. I took it, pulse fluttering. Couldn't not. We talked halting, regrets spilled like bile. His admissions raw, the hookups as self-sabotage. Fear of queer world's judgment mirroring my own buried terrors. "You're clean now?" I asked, voice steel. He nodded, tears tracking. "Detox tomorrow. For real this time. For if there's an us." I pulled back, James, I'm seeing someone. It's serious. His face crumpled, but he nodded. He treats you right? Yeah, he does. I stayed 2 days, hospital vigils, walks on Santa Monica Pier where we once dreamed. No kisses, just closure. His hand in mine as waves roared forgiveness. Love you always, he whispered at the gate. But go live, Alex. Bravely, back east, David waited with soup and silence. How is he? Healing. We curled on the couch, Oscar wedged between, his head on my lap. Missed you, David murmured. I kissed his forehead. Wouldn't have made it without you. Winter gripped tight. Holidays a gauntlet. My folks visited. Awkward dinners where I danced around truths. Dad's jokes masking unease. Found a nice girl yet? He ribbed. I smiled tight. Working on it. David met them hypothetically over calls, his charm easing the lie. James texted sparingly. Progress reports. Sobriety chips scanned fuzzy. Proud of you, I replied. Keep fighting. New Year's dawned crisp. Fireworks blooming over the bridge. David and I watched from his roof. Champagne flutes clinking. To us, he toasted. Our kiss tasted of sparks and snowflakes. But as midnight chimed, a text buzzed. James, with a photo him at a NA meeting. Smile tentative. 1 year sober tomorrow. Wish you were here. Guilt flickered, but I silenced it. David pulled me closer. Penny for him? Just ghosts. He nodded, understanding unspoken. Spring 2026 bloomed hesitant. My first pride is out, arm linked with David's through the march. Banners waved. Chants thundered. We're here. We're queer. For the first time, I chanted loud, voice cracking free. Riley spotted us, waving from a float. You did it, she yelled. I grinned, tears pricking. Yeah, I did. James's next milestone. A solo show. Invite forwarded digital. No pressure. Just see what I've become. I went alone, David in DC for work, flying west incognito. The gallery hummed. Canvases vast. Themes of redemption. Figures emerging from shadows. Hands outstretched. One piece stopped me cold. Echoes. A diptych. Left panel chaos. Lovers fracturing. Right. Solitary bloom. Roots deep in fractured earth. Plaque. 4AH. The light I chased. He found me there. Suit sharp. Eyes clear. You came. Hug brief. Charged. It's stunning, I said. Honest. You. We talked art. Avoidance dancing around us. Seeing someone? He asked. Casual. Yeah. Good guy. Smile genuine. Happy for you. Pause heavy. Missed this us. As friends. Friends. The word settled soft. Me too. Maybe emails? No drama. He nodded. Relief flooding. Deal. Back home. David enveloped me, no jealousy. Just arms open. Proud of you, he whispered, as we tangled slow. That night, dreams came gentle. James painting sunrises. Me marching with David. Paths parallel. Not entwined. Summer sweltered again. But this time with ballast. David's lease merged with mine. Boxes shuffled into the walk-up like puzzle pieces slotting home. We fought over closet space and takeout orders. but made up with laughter and lazy Sundays in bed. Sheets twisted like vines. Domestic as hell, he'd tease, flipping pancakes in nothing but boxers. I'd steal bites, pulling him back for syrup-sweet kisses. It was easy, this life, groceries texted in shorthand, his cologne on my pillows, our playlists bleeding together on Spotify. Work thrived. The youth program expanded, satellite offices in Queens and the Bronx. I mentored now, not just advised, guiding a support group for queer teens navigating family fallout. One kid, Jamal, reminded me of James's wild edges, street smart, sketches doodled in margins of his journal. "How'd you know?" he asked once, voice small. That it was real, not phase. I thought of that midnight kiss, the ache that followed. When it hurts to hide. That's your sign. He nodded, fierce. Gonna tell my mom next week. Pride swelled mine. His. Ours. James faded to background hum. Emails monthly. Updates on his world, new agent. Mural commissions in Skid Row. He shared sketches digital. Clean lines of urban rebirth. Your influence. He'd caption. I replied with photos. David and me at Coney Island. Cotton candy grins. Pride floats from last year. Living loud. I'd add. No undercurrents. Just echoes harmonizing. Then autumn cracked open the facade. David's ex surfaced. Ex from Seattle. A tech was named Kyle. All venture capital swagger and lingering grudges. It started innocuous. LinkedIn ping. Then coffee for closure. David downplayed. Water under the bridge. Needs to vent. But vents turned texts. Late night calls that lit his phone like warnings. I stewed silent at first, trust as fragile as it was vital. The blow came mid-October. I came home early from a site visit, key rattling in the lock. Laughter spilled from the bedroom. David's, low and intimate. Kyle's, sharp-edged. Door ajar. I froze, them on the bed. Shirts off. Kyle's hand on David's thigh, lips inches apart. Missed this, Kyle murmured. David pulled back. But not fast, guilt flashed, then panic as he spotted me. Alex! He bolted up, yanking a pillow over his lap. Kyle smirked, unashamed. Oops. Interrupted. I backed out, world tilting. Downstairs, cold air slapped, but numbness held. Betrayal's echo, James all over again. The sting familiar. David chased, barefoot on the stoop. Nothing happened. He showed up. We talked, old shit bubbled up. I swear, lies were half-truths. Kyle's car peeled away as sirens wailed distant. Why him? I demanded, voice steel. After everything? David deflated. Closure. Yeah, thought I needed it. But I don't. I need you. Tears tracked his cheeks, mirroring James's hospital plea. History rhymed cruel. We circled that night, arguments looping like bad vinyl, my accusations sharp, his defenses fraying. You're projecting, he snapped once, then winced. Shit. Sorry. But trust goes both ways. He was right. My scars ran deep, James's knife still lodged. Dawn found us exhausted, truce fragile. Counseling, he suggested. I nodded. If we're doing this, therapy unpacked us. Sessions in a sunlit office. Dr. Lena's voice calm anchor. David owned his flirt. Thrill of the familiar. fear of forever's wait. I confessed ghosts, the closet's crush, James's chaos as addiction. You're not him, I told David one night, post-session, his head in my lap. But I need to know you're all in. He kissed my palm. I am. Scared shitless, but in. Winter whispered forgiveness. Holidays healed slow. My folks in town. David charming over lax. Dad clapping his back like kin. Solid guy, he grunted later. Over beers. Coming out hovered unspoken. I practiced in mirrors. Words sticking. Soon, I promised David. He squeezed my hand. Your timeline. James's holiday card arrived. Watercolor cityscape. Note brief. Wishing you joy unshadowed. I framed it. Tucked in a drawer. A relic. Not chain. Spring 2027 bloomed resilient. The program hit milestones. First kid housed through our grants. Jamal's mom at a family workshop. Hugging fierce. David proposed expansion, podcast series. Queer voices amplified. We co-hosted the pilot. Me stumbling intros. Him smooth as jazz. Listeners flooded in. Stories pouring. Heartbreaks mended. Truths claimed. But cracks spidered. David's job offered a Seattle transfer VP bump. Equity stake. Think about it, he said over dinner. I's hopeful. Seattle. Rain-slick streets. His roots calling. Me, Brooklyn's grit. My work's pulse. Long distance worked once, he hedged. I laughed bitter. Broke me once. Arguments reignited. His ambition versus my stability. Fears unspoken. Climax crested Memorial Day. Beach trip to the Hamptons. Friends rental all decks and dunes. Bonfire crackled. Beers flowed. But tension hummed. Kyle texted David mid-roast. Congrats on the offer. Drinks to celebrate? I saw it glow. His thumb hovering delete. Block him, I said. Voice low. He did. But the seed sprouted. What if it's a sign? Fresh start for us? Betrayal's shadow loomed. Not Kyle's ghost. But choice's blade. You want out, I accused. Waves crashing accusation. Admit it, he recoiled. No, but staying feels. Stuck. The fight spilled raw. My insecurities flaring. His frustrations bursting. I love you, Alex, but this city's eating us. The doubts. The past, its poison. Dawn broke stormy. Us packing in silence. Drive back choked with unsaid. His hand on the gearshift. Inches from mine. At the apartment, bags dropped heavy. Decide, I said, door half open. Seattle or us. He searched my face, tears brimming. I can't lose you. But I can't breathe here. The door clicked shut behind him. Days blurred solitary. Work autopilot. Therapy solo now. Friends rallied. Mia with wine and rants. Jamal with awkward fist bumps. James emailed, heard through vines. Heart sucks. Call if you need. I did one night. Voicemail pouring grief. He called back. Steady. You're stronger than this. Remember Ohio boy? He survived cornfields. He'll survive heartbreak. David's absence echoed. His mug on the counter. Playlists mocking. A week in. He showed. Duffel packed. Eyes red. Chose you. Relief crashed. But doubt lingered. Seattle. Declined. We're building here. We collided. Kisses desperate. bodies reaffirming vows unspoken. But choices cost tallied. Summer simmered resentment, my barbs at his what-ifs, his sighs at my cling. Therapy dug deeper, Dr. Lena probing. What's the fear? Really? Mine, abandonment cycle, love as fragile as charcoal smudges. His, stagnation's trap, ambition caged. Fall stripped bare. My coming out landed soft. Phone call to mom. Voice steady. Ma, there's a guy. David. Love him. Pause eternal. Then, 'bout time. Kiddo. Dad's grillin' steaks when you visit. Tears flowed mutual. David held me after, whispering, brave as hell. James's show toured east, pop up in Chelsea. We attended as friends, me with David, him solo, smile easy. Post-reception, over whiskeys, he clinked my glass. You look happy. I am. David chatted him up later, bro handshake. No thorns. Take care of him, James said. Plan to. Thanksgiving anchored. Joint family dinner. David's folks from Jersey beaming over pie. Stories swapped, his abuela's recipes, my dad's bad puns. Belonging bloomed, roots intertwining. Winter wrapped us tight, holidays a tapestry of firsts. David's hand in mine at my folks' Cleveland table, coming out woven casual into toasts. Dad's nod was gruff. As long as he treats you right, but eyes shone proud. Mom hugged David like a son, stuffing his plate with seconds. Back in Brooklyn, we hosted stragglers. Mia tipsy on eggnog, Jamal shy with pie, James video calling from LA with a toast to chosen families. The screen flickered warm, no shadows. New Year 2028 dawn deliberate. David and I set intentions over black-eyed peas and champagne. His, launch the podcast full scale. Mine, expand the program statewide. We inked a lease on a proper apartment. 2-bed in Williamsburg. Exposed brick and a balcony overlooking the East River. Moving day chaos. Boxes labeled books and kitchen shit. Ended in laughter. Pizza on the floor. His head on my shoulder as fireworks popped distant. This is home, he murmured. I kissed his temple. Yeah. It is. Spring surged with momentum. The podcast exploded. Episodes on intersectional queerness. Guests from trans activists to elder statesmen. David produced. I moderated, our synergy crackling on air. Off to. Listeners wrote, your voices saved me. Jamal guested one show, voice steady recounting his mom's embrace post coming out. Alex showed me how, he credited. Tears pricked live. David's hand squeezed under the table. James's orbit stabilized. Bi-coastal now. Shows splitting coasts. He crashed our place once, couch surf for a week. Easy as old times. No tension. David bonded over craft beers and street art hunts. One night, 3 of us on the balcony, city humming below. James raised his bottle. To second X, clinks echoed, past absolved. But life tests foundations. Summer brought David's diagnosis. Routine checkup unearthed a shadow on his lung, early, caught quick, but biopsy loomed. Waiting rooms blurred sterile, his hand clammy in mine. If it's bad, he started. I shut him down fierce. It's not. And if we fight together, results, malignant, stage 1. Surgery scheduled, radiation follow-up. Fear coiled, but resolve armored. The procedure was a blur. Pre-op kisses, His wink brave, waiting room vigil, coffee cold in styrofoam. When they wheeled him out, groggy but grinning, tumors toast, relief buckled me. Recovery was grit, ice packs and bad TV, me force-feeding broth, David cracking jokes through pain. Friends rallied meal trains, Mia's playlists of uplift anthems. James sent a canvas, abstract resilience, blues yielding to gold. Your warriors, note read. Fall framed healing. David back at work part-time. Me juggling grants with chemo runs, no. Radiation zaps. Quick and draining. We leaned mutual, his head in my lap during episodes, my confessions of terror voiced soft. Scared I'll lose you, I admitted one night, rain pattering glass. He traced my jaw. Not going anywhere. Promise. Therapy evolved. Couple sessions now. Unpacking vulnerability's layers. Dr. Lena smiled. Growth isn't linear, but you're climbing. James visited post-op. LA to NYC flight. Sketchpad in tow. He captured David mid-laugh. Pencil strokes capturing spirit unbowed. For the wall, he said, mounting it beside our bed. That night, beers on the balcony, he opened up his own therapy odyssey, sobriety's tightrope, art as lifeline. You taught me brave, Alex. Both of you. David clapped his shoulder. Ditto. Man. Winter thawed gentle. David's scans cleared. Remission's gift. Doctors cautious but optimistic. We celebrated quiet. Dinner at the Rusty Nail. Corner booth where it began. To survivorship, he toasted. Our kiss drew smiles from regulars. World softer now. Spring 2029 bloomed triumphant. The program went national, partnerships with orgs coast to coast, youth summits in 10 cities. I keynote the first, voice steady, story raw from closet kid to advocate, love's detours as signposts. Applause thundered, David in front row, eyes shining. Backstage, his hug crushed, fucking legend, podcast hit milestones, 100th EP, live from Pride. Guests overflowed, James on a panel about queer arts redemption arcs, his vulnerability electric. Loss carves space for light, he said, glancing my way. Crowd hooped. I squeezed David's knee. Full circle. Summer sealed vows unspoken. On a whim, we drove cross-country, his hybrid humming highways, windows down to wind-whipped plains. Stops dotted. Grand Canyon sunsets. James's LA studio for a night of tacos and tales. Ohio for family barbecue. Dad grilling with David like equals. Vegas detour. Chapel impulsive. Rings simple silver. Marry me? He asked under neon glow. Hell yes. I laughed. Tears salting the yes. Fall framed forever. Small wedding in the park. Cherry trees shedding confetti pink. Vows exchanged casual. His. Through betrayals and battles. You're my north. Mine. In shadows and sun. I choose you. James best man. Toast heartfelt. To loves that rewrite us. Dance floor swirled. Mom two-stepping. Jamal DJing bops. City skyline winking approval. Winter whispered legacies. David authored a grant for cancer support in queer communities. I expanded mentorships. Letters from kids like lifelines. James's mural graced our building. Triptych of intertwined figures. Rising from urban grit. One night, balcony perch with hot toddies. Snow dusting rails. David leaned into me. Regrets. I pondered. James's kiss as catalyst. Betrayals as teachers. David's steadiness as grace. None. You, he grinned. Just that I didn't find you sooner. Life's not linear, hook snag. Conflicts carve. Betrayals scar but heal. In America's sprawl, from Brooklyn stoops to canyon echoes, we built this raw, romantic, resilient, human as the heartbeat under it all, flawed, fierce, forever. As stars pricked the velvet sky, his hand in mine, I whispered, "Love you," echo simple, profound. The city sighed back, secrets shared.